It's right around the block. My parents get to come, my kids come. Uh, they're starting to move some talent in and out of there, and hopefully things continue to build. I was told that they've signed 2 more years on the lease. So um, as far as elevating the show, I think that they still got guys over there like Chris Majors is a up and coming wrestler that I've seen take off from being a mid card opening or not even on the show type of guy to being a major player over here. And the people in Georgetown have got to see that development of Chris Majors, and it's something that I'm fortunate to be with the guys that are willing to do the little things that maybe some other guys wouldn't, and it makes me feel good to know that someone thinks that if I'm on the show, they need to step their game up. So if anything, that's something that makes me happy. That's something that makes me feel good about how hard I've worked, and hopefully other guys can do the same, and we'll just start to make wrestling in Kentucky grow again. Back when I started my wrestling in Kentucky, I always drew good crowds. There was never any low crowds, and now you look around and you got 40 and 30 people at some shows, and there's no advertising, there's no posters, there's no, not even word of mouth. I mean, it's almost people aren't interested anymore, and that all goes back to being half trained and not really putting forth everything you got. So hopefully, whether it's GWS, TTW, WCCW, wherever, hopefully when someone sees me that they would know at the end of the night that I gave them everything I had, and hopefully everyone else will do that, and the shows will prosper and get some people back on the in the chairs again.
Absolutely, man. And there's one more thing I want to bring up before I let you go. And you know what I'm going with this. I mentioned this on the show a little bit earlier in the hour. It was back in August of this year. I was in attendance. Me and my friend Damien, aka Day Day, we in the show. We in the audience. Having a good time. You in the main event versus Ravishing Ronnie Roberts. And after the match, you and Majors, and of course Wani and ATM, y'all had a rivalry at the time. Y'all went at it verbally, and out of nowhere, you gave me and Damien a shout out. Came out of nowhere, and we was just like, "Yeah, Larry just gave us a shout out." So that was probably the most fun I've ever had at a wrestling show. I mean, I never thought and for the record, people, I didn't know that shout out was coming. Okay, it was just out of the blue, came out of nowhere. I'm just sitting up, watching the show like everybody else, and Larry just pointed me and Damien out, and I was just honored and you was the champion at that time, and that means a lot, and I appreciate that, Larry. I posted my thoughts on it, and you also mentioned your mom. I hope she's feeling a lot better health wise. But I just want to say, Larry, thank you for that shout out. Thank you for that moment. As a wrestling fan, I will treasure that for the rest of my life. I just want to say thank you again for that moment. I appreciate it.
It was, that's what we're there for. I mean, uh, I'm glad that I get to know and meet some of the people like yourself that come to these shows. I mean, there's an interaction that I like to have with the fans and with everyone that comes to the shows now. If they decide to boo or cheer whoever they want, and that's, they pay their hard-earned dollar to do that. And, I like to give back to the people that do spend that gas money to get in that door. And, they do spend that ticket money to come through and sit in that chair. So, like I say, I was a fan at one time myself. I used to go to wrestling, travel around, following shows. I went from, as far as Georgetown to BBW. They run way down in Bardstown, the Louisville area, and, Shelbyville, Shelby County. we would follow those and uh, come back and we would watch it every Sunday here in Georgia. So I know what it's like to be a fan and I would see just people itching to talk to wrestlers, itching to be recognized, and heck, I was one of them. And that's something I like to do. It's something that I want. I want many more people like you coming to me saying, you know what, that really made my day. I appreciate that, and it's something that I'll continue to do. I want people to enjoy coming to a wrestling show. I want people to enjoy spending their money on something in a tough economy. I mean, our government's shut down, but we got people who are itching and scratching for a dime and a dollar, and we still got them coming to wrestling shows because they love it just as much as we do performing. And I just feel like that's just a huge, huge thing for me to do is to relate back to the fans and give back to the fans and hope that they left and got their money's worth because I know how hard it is. I'm a single dad. I know I live paycheck to paycheck and it's just we got to do what we got to do. But I mean, when I see someone out in that crowd that's there consistently, that's there every time I'm there, and I can't help but to give the love back because I was right there in them seats as well. And it's something I'll continue to do till Carter takes over. So hopefully he'll continue that when he wrestles if he decides to go that route.
Well, all I can say, Larry, is keep up the great work. Everybody check out Primetime Wrestling. They are on Facebook. Check them out at Primetime Wrestling. And you can also check out Larry at UWF Sundays at Georgetown, 150 Edwards Avenue. The doors are, let's see, open at 6. Bell time is at 6:30. That's at Georgetown. United Wrestling Federation. Look it up on Facebook. And Larry, again, thank you for being on the show. And hopefully, when I get my stuff together, you'll see me more often in Georgetown, and maybe sometime down the road I'll take a trip to Macville for a PTW show as well. But I want to thank you for being on the show this evening.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. It was my pleasure. And anytime you feel like coming to a PTW show, if it's Harrodsburg or Knoxville, just give me a holler and I'll get you in there, no problem. And heck, if we can set it up somewhere in Harrodsburg, if you want to do a live feed from there or something, feel free. Just I know how much you love wrestling just as much as we do. So if there's anything I can do to help you or Triple Threat Wrestling, just let me know and I'll be glad to do it.
Absolutely, man. I'll definitely keep you posted. Thank you for your time, Larry. You have a good night.
You do the same. I appreciate it, man.
All right, bye bye.
All right,
That was legendary Larry D joining me this evening on Triple Threat Wrestling Radio, and I just realized my recording went off, and so I'm gonna have to edit Larry's interview by the time I get off the air. Now, quick recap of Impact Wrestling. Manic and Jeff Hardy goes on to defeat Chris Sabin and Kenny King, and it's been announced that those four men and who else? And Austin Aries will be a part of the Ultimate X match for the X Division title at the Bound for Glory pay-per-view. Magnus had a gauntlet match. He defeated Christopher Daniels, Kazarian, but ended up losing to Bobby Roode. It was supposed to be Brooke Tessmacher versus Velvet Sky, but the match never happened due to the interference of former Triple Threat Wrestling Radio guest Lady Tapa. She made her debut, and it appears that they either they put Gut Check on hold or they just stopped it for good. And the main event, Samoa Joe went on to beat Samoa Joe beat Bully Ray by DQ. Out comes AJ Styles, who's still storyline wise not on the contract. if you will. And of course, Dixie Carter on Impact last week gave Hulk Hogan an ultimatum. You're either with me or you're against me. And Hogan thought it through and decided that his time is over. He pretty much quit, if you will. But how long Hogan will be out of Impact Wrestling, that remains to be seen. Now on to the SmackDown recap, but then I will get into the Battleground predictions. RVD defeats Fandango by DQ. Ryback defeated R-Truth. Berto Del Rio defeated Dolph Ziggler. Los Matadores defeated Heath Slater. Jinder Mahal of 3MB. Brie Bella defeated Oksana. Kofi defeated Biggie Langston. And Big Show versus The Shield and Randy Orton. I think that ended in a no contest, if you will. Now, on to my predictions for the Battleground pay-per-view, which is 1 day, 21 hours, and 40 seconds away. I'm just reading the ticker on the Battleground page. Anyway, on to my predictions for Battleground. And we start off with the kickoff show. Did I mention this? Oh, Del Rio defeated Ziggler. That was a hell of a great match. But speaking of Battleground, Ziggler versus Sandow, a former Mr. Money in the Bank winner versus a current Money in the Bank winner. It's going to be taking place at the kickoff show. I'm going to give the victory to Dolph Ziggler. And then on to the Divas Championship match. The battle of Daniel Bryan's real-life fiance versus a former acting fiance, AJ Lee, the Divas Champion. I thought this through and through, and I think it will be interesting if the soon-to-be married couple will be walking out as champions. But I'm going to give the nod to AJ Lee. A match that's just been announced on SmackDown earlier tonight. Kofi Kingston versus Bray Wyatt. I'm going to give that to Bray Wyatt. Intercontinental Championship, Truth versus Axel. I'm going to go with Curtis Axel. Let's see. Cody Rhodes and Goldust versus Rollins and Reigns. Of course, Ambrose will be in the corner of his fellow Shield teammates, while Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, will be in the corner of his sons. And the stipulation is, if the Road Brothers lose, then the Road Brothers will never get another opportunity in the WWE again, and Dusty Rhodes lose his job altogether. I'm going with the Shield. Rollins and Reigns. That means all three Rhodes are out come Monday morning. At least storyline wise. World Heavyweight Championship, Roberto Del Rio versus Rob Van Dam in a Battleground Hardcore Rules match. I was going to pick Roberto Del Rio a few weeks ago, but now this is a Battleground Hardcore Rules match. I'm giving the nod to RVD. RVD made his WWE return this past July, and now here we are in October. I think it's time for the whole effing show. Mr. Friday Night, Mr. Monday Night, Mr. Pay-Per-View to now be Mr. World Heavyweight Champion. And how convenient, considering Ricardo Rodriguez will be there to see it happen. So I'm going to give it to RVD. Now, CM Punk versus Ryback. Now, Punk did lose at Night of Champions, but I think he's going to redeem himself this time around. I pick him to beat Ryback. And then Bryan versus Orton for the WWE Championship, which is vacated at the moment. I don't expect Scott Armstrong to be the referee of this particular match. Randy Orton, the McMahons wanted the old Randy back, and we've seen signs of the old Randy. Daniel Bryan's not going to back down. Now, I don't see his fiance win the Divas Champion. And after thinking this through, I don't see the soon-to-be husband being champion neither. I'm going to go with Randy Orton to be WWE Champion yet again. And those are my predictions for the Battleground pay-per-view. Before I get on out of here, I want to thank legendary Larry D for joining me. And as of this moment, I don't have a guest scheduled for next week, but I will keep y'all posted. Keep an eye on the tweets at TTW Radio and the Facebook fan page, Triple Threat Wrestling Radio Show. Keep an eye on that. And on that note, I am out of here. I am Kenny C, your host. You all have a great weekend. Don't forget my other show, Chilling with Jeffrey Kenny C, coming to you Saturday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That is on tmvcafe.com. You all have a good night. Have a great weekend. And peace out.